Hi guys, today I'm going to share my quick 10-minute stovetop cleaning routine that I do every night before I go to bed. Since I have a glass top stove, I'll also show you how to clean your gas and electric stoves, and I'll show you that as I'm going through my cleaning tips and tricks. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I have a bowl of soapy water, and I've already sprinkled my stovetop with baking soda. I just use any old baking soda. I don't think it really matters here. Just sprinkle it on, and whether you have a gas top or electric or glass, you can sprinkle it on the parts that are contact and you have lots of grime and grease. Take out the electric coil if you have an electric stove, and then on the gas burner, take off the top part, the metal part, and you can soak those and scrub those in the sink. But here you just sprinkle the rest of the stove. You don't want it to be dripping wet. You just want the cloth to be damp. You can see I don't have a lot of liquid there because I want the baking soda to act as an abrasive. And I'm just going in a circular motion, just scrubbing all of the hard spots of food, the little burn marks that you get on the stove sometimes that are just kind of hard, and sort of going in a circular motion until I find something that might be a little bit harder, and then I will scrub like that, just kind of scrubbing in that little area, adding some more baking soda to get rid of it. You could use a sponge that has an abrasive side, but just make sure whatever type of stove you have, whether it's the gas, electric, or glass top, that it's not going to scratch and leave marks on your stove. When we moved into our house, we had scratches on our stove already. And it was just kind of annoying that, there was not really a lot that I can do about it. Actually, if any of you have tips for me on how I can get those scratches off of the glass top, I would love to hear that. Just comment below, and I would love to get your tips and tricks on that, and I'll take care of that as soon as possible. But so if you have any tips for me, please comment below and let me know. I need to really remove those scratches. So right there, you can see that the different color of the baking soda because it's picking up all that grease. And so I'm just showing you that there. And you see I'm just continuing to scrub, getting rid of all that grime. It doesn't take that long. I had to add a little bit more water there. It wasn't quite foaming up. And see right there, I kind of added a little too much water. I feel like that can be a little too much. It won't get everything. The abrasiveness won't happen. Sorry about that, but I want to make sure that I keep the abrasion there so I can get those little tough spots. So here I'm just kind of rubbing, to feel if I feel anything with my hand that still needs to come off. Obviously there's a few more spots there, and I will go over the whole stove to make sure that I've removed everything around the burners, to make sure that, that way when I get ready to wipe the stove down, there's nothing there, because nothing worse than not knowing that stuff is there, and then you go and clean your stove, get all this baking soda off, and then you have tons of spots that need to be spot treated. So just try to do it all before I'm all finished. And so I'm just going over the top part of the stove, making sure, because right now, if there's nothing there, I will be ready to go ahead and stop scrubbing and get ready to wipe everything down. So I'm just going to continue to check that and make sure that there's nothing there, clean up everything. And looks like there's not a whole lot left, which is pretty awesome. And again, this doesn't take that long. It takes me most of the time less than 10 minutes to completely get everything done. I never go past 15 minutes because I feel like that's just way too much time to clean the stove. And if you clean as you're cooking, which I do not, I am a terror in the kitchen. I'm like the Tasmanian devil in the kitchen. Everything's everywhere. So if you cook like me, this is your nighttime routine for sure. If you're meal prepping, this might be your routine, but this is something I do every night. Sometimes it takes me 5 minutes, depending on what I'm making. This night, I just happened to use all 4 of my burners, and so there was stuff everywhere. I even had my little rolling kitchen island cart that I have from IKEA. It was full of stuff as well, but luckily, the glass top and the IKEA cart are very easy to clean. So, all right, so I'm done. I think I'm done right here. I'm just looking at the pile and seeing how it looks. I'm rinsing out my rag. So this is the first rinse that I'll do of my rag. I'm just gonna rinse all of that baking soda out, all the extra soap, until the water pretty much runs clear. Again, you want to make sure that the water runs from the rag clear so that you're not taking all of that grime back over to the stove. And that's a really important part, because if you do, you'll end up wiping the stove multiple times. So again, it's very important during this process that you are completely, clean your rag. Like, make sure it's absolutely clean before you go back. You don't need to add any soap or do anything like that. I've done that before where I've added soap and it ended up being a nightmare, because then I just added too much soap to my rag and then put it in my soapy water bowl and just made a mess. So make sure you just have a soapy water bowl, and that is what you're using, okay? So here I've got my rag completely cleaned out. I sort of fold it in half and I start wiping down my stove and getting all of that baking soda off. And it looks so beautiful. I mean, I'm so happy at the end of the night when I have a beautiful stove. It just looks so pretty. It's so shiny. And so at this point, while I'm cleaning up all of that baking soda, I wanted to let you guys know that have a gas stove and electric stove, you want to make sure that you've got your, if you have electric, you've got those little holes cleaned out where the burners go. If you've got the little metal plates underneath, you've scrubbed those are all done. They could have been soaking in hot water. And you want to make sure that they're already washed and dried and ready to go back on your stove. For those that have gas, you want to have scrubbed your gas plates that go on top. Sorry, let me go back. I'm rinsing out my rag one more time, again, rinsing it so that the water completely runs clear. Okay, so sorry guys, back to the gas stove. So you want to make sure your gas top is clean. Those little metal parts are cleaned and scrubbed. And then everything underneath, all the little metal part, the round part that goes on top, that's taken off and washed. You've cleaned all of that part on the stove and you're ready to dry your pieces so that they can go back on your stove, okay? So again, make sure you do 2 clear rinses of your rag, no matter what type of stove that you have, so that you're not taking dirty soapy water back over to your clean stove, okay? So this part is the final part, and I'm just gonna dip it in my soapy water bowl, and I just have like a teaspoon of water or so in this bowl. It's like a little bit larger than a cereal bowl, and it's filled with warm water. And then I'm just gonna literally finish wiping off the rest of my stove, which I had already done, but with the baking soda, I was spraying, it was spraying everywhere. So I'm just gonna make sure I wipe all of that down, getting all the cracks and crevices to make sure there's no leftover soap powder. I found a spot that was still a little sticky. Then getting all of those, see how I'm getting in the cracks and crevices, and you can use a toothpick here to get in your cracks and crevices. I don't do that every night. I do that on deep cleaning. But if you really don't want to have that, or if you feel like you can't get it with your rag, that's okay. Go ahead and use a toothpick. But again, I'm just wiping up all of the baking soda, because this is going to be my final rinse. This is the wash and the rinse. I'm getting the side where I, again, sprayed all kind of baking soda everywhere, and just making sure I get all of the stove nice and clean. You see it's got a little bit of bubbles, not a lot. And now I've got my microfiber. It's completely dry, and I'm just using that to kind of buff out the stove. And yep, I'm getting the top part, I'm getting all along the sides, and I'm just making sure that everything is completely done. So you can see after I finish, buffing and shining everything, you'll see that the stove looks so amazingly beautiful. It's nice and shiny. It's beautiful. It is ready for me to destroy tomorrow. And you can see that the scratches there that I was talking about earlier. So if you guys know how to get rid of that, if you can comment below, I'd really appreciate it. I will love any tips that you guys can give me to help buff that out. You see, it's so beautiful. I'm ready to go to bed and have a peaceful night's sleep, because it's just shining and ready for my next day. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys soon.